Hi everyone, it's Sally Estlin here on Magic Mike Moments, sitting down with another awesome person. And today it happens to be a very close friend of mine, Brigette Sigley. Welcome, 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 Bridge.
Thank you.
So before we get into it, let me just introduce you a little bit further with a bit of a bio. So 14 years ago, your life changed forever. You were drowning in a sea of busyness and commitments, constantly running on empty and putting others first. There was no me, and I can totally relate to that. But, oh my goodness, this led to cancer. Your wake-up call came when treatment didn't work. It was then that you surrendered, you let go, and relearned how to feel alive again. You looked hard at what wasn't working in your life and found the courage to make changes. And today you're healthy, feeling reignited and alive to live. I put myself first, knowing I'm a better partner and me. I take adventures in nature, knowing it calms me from the chaos of life. Wow, Bridge, you have been through a lot. So welcome. You'd like to share a little bit of your journey along the way and what you've learnt, through the highs and the lows. Obviously, a few lows there.
Uh, yeah. So I was thinking about this, and I think for people, maybe it's to understand, because I didn't understand that perhaps life was out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, if you can imagine you're a juggler and you're juggling perhaps two balls, and mine at the time was a business and then a relationship, and then I had a child, and then and then I had another child, and then I had another child.
Mm.
And so I'm juggling all these balls, and it got to be that, to the point where if I dropped one, then everything else felt like it would fall. So there seemed a lot of pressure on me during that time. And sometimes we don't know. And I don't think I really knew how to say no. I mean, I had some help, but it was always like, oh, well, I'm the mum, I really need to organize this, or well, we're having the dinner, or all their activities, and the pressure of running a business at that point of time. But
Mm.
some of the sort of the telltale signs were back then. And you mentioned in the intro that, that led to breast cancer. Well, 5 years before that, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor on my C2, which is sort of like two down from the top of your neck, the base of your skull
Yeah, it's
down.
a cervical vertebra. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. So how old were you when that happened?
35. So I'd had one
Oh,
child
so
at
you had
that.
one child. So you were just being superwoman, right?
Yeah, and at the time it was like, I've been running my business for a while, but it was like, oh my God, well, who's going to run that? And they said, you need to rest, and I couldn't see a way. So I was back doing invoicing, within sort of 3 weeks after it happened, and back
Yeah.
driving way before I should, et cetera, et cetera. But I always remember in those days, like, I would always have Panadol in my purse. I would
Mm.
be pepping myself up with coffee in the morning, coffee in the afternoon. There was always kind of a need for wine to calm down. And look, I'm not saying that I don't ever have any of those things now, but they were always a barocca to kind of
Yep.
get me going. Um, and and yeah, I just felt like at that time that I had to do everything. And then I started to have also some, it wouldn't be uncommon to have a regular type of headache as well. So they
Mm.
were kind of all the sort of the physical things. um, but at that time, I would say that I didn't have a lot of body awareness.
Hmm.
And so I never really stopped to ask my body
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just, oh, fuck, brain tumor. All right, medical profession, how do we solve that? And then they
Yeah.
said, right, we're going to cut it out, and so I went, yeah, when can you do it? When can I be back working, etc. And they did that. And then I didn't really change anything. I just thought, shit, I'm lucky to be alive.
Mm.
I better just make the most of things. I better crack on and build
Yeah.
this business, because you never know when your time's up. So that's the way I looked at that. And so then I accelerated the business. Another couple of kids came along, and it wasn't until the second diagnosis, being breast cancer,
Mm.
and that really stopped me in my tracks, because they gave me chemo, and and they and I had an operation that I really started to feel like I couldn't do anything anymore. And I think we get those signs, don't we?
Yeah, it's a massive wake-up call. Yeah, massive wake-up call.
Yeah, a wake-up call to say, hey, pay attention, pay attention. You know, like we were talking about, you know, with you before. And so when that happened, I still didn't quite pay attention, in the sense that I thought, they know what they're doing, let them solve it. I'll just keep going. I kind of knew in the back of my mind that something had to give. And for me at that time, it was, I needed to move away from that particular business and start to find out how to heal myself. So that's what essentially ended up happening. That you know, we got to a point where I was diagnosed with grade 3 cancer. They gave me all this chemo and said that should whack it on the head. And then at the end of it, they said, look, you know, nothing's changed. It's still the same. It's accelerating. And I'm like, well, what? And that was probably my, you know, and at that point in time, it was at that I suddenly thought, well, look, this is my life. I need to kind of find a solution. And I'd never been religious or anything, but at that point in time, I remember coming back from that appointment and just lying down in this room that I'd set up, and just saying, if there's a God out there, I really need help. And I think sometimes we have to ask. Now, I say God, but we have to ask for help. There is, and I've learned that there's this energetic force there that's really willing, but we just need to get out of our own way and ask. And in that moment, I didn't know what to do. You know, they told me that this hasn't worked. And I was feeling like death warmed up. Like I really felt like, with all of that I was going to die. And it was like, suddenly I can just best describe it as I kind of let go. And so there was nothing. I wasn't thinking about what do I do next. It was just, I let go. And then this feeling of being wrapped in this warm blanket, it was like, I just felt like if I just listened, everything would be all right. And that led me on a journey to start to listen and say, and it was like, you know, you just need to learn to be able to live in balance and everything will be okay. And then they wanted to give me some more chemo later on, and I said no to that. And I didn't tell many people at the time about that. You know, Ross knew, but it's kind of a weird thing that, you know, people and just thought, right, I'm going to commit now to my own wellness. And for me, what that looked like was taking a step back from that business and really starting to slow down. Like I started to practice meditation. It was a bit like golf, you know, like, oh my God, what is this crazy thing that I've got to sit still? But it was just doing all these slow things and starting to walk in nature, whereas before I would run in nature. Everything was about getting there quickly. And I started to really feel into my body. So these days, you know, I can feel when I'm really tired, and I just have to go, you know what?
Surrender.
Surrender.
Absolutely.
And I've just had these funky, amazing moments because of it all.
I think particularly as we get into our 50s, we're aging gracefully, but, you know, the niggles start to appear. I mean, you had a massive wake-up call a little bit earlier. It was around 40, wasn't it? I think it was around 40.
Yeah, it was 40. Yeah.
And, you know, and you, in many ways, it was, you know, a life-changing was a life changer for you, because you changed your ways earlier on. And I think, you know, as we get this wisdom, I see it a lot with my clients. Really, it's without getting the illness, they're starting to realize that what's important is to slow down, you know, let stuff go that's, you know, that's not that important, and connect with nature, particularly since COVID. I mean, I know I've done it myself, big time, but I can entirely relate, and I know a lot of people can relate to that busyness, and you think there's no other option. You just keep going. And it's funny, I do angel card readings every day, and the messages today were like, connect with your body, listen to your body. And I use this book every day, Ina Segal's book, The Secret Language of the Body. I love it because our body is just there to provide messages with us, give us a bit of a wake-up call. When we've got anything going on, it's emotions that are stuck and stored in the body, and so it's listening to what do we need to sort of focus on and to help us back into wellness, because everything we do today is for our tomorrow self as well as our today self. So it's preventing illness down the track and having a quality of life. We're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time, right? And watching your journey, it's so beautiful to see you now getting out in nature and now building a career around that as well. Do you want to share a little bit about your latest ventures?
Yeah, well, I discovered that when I get out into nature, it's this land that's been here for thousands of years, and all my worries become inconsequential when I'm out there, these tiny problems. What am I worried about? I'll eventually become dust and this forest will still be there. So there's that aspect to it, but there's also the aspect of when you're walking and just concentrating on walking, you're putting any worries out of your head, and then you're able to, later on, the solution will just kind of pop back in.
Yeah, I walk every single day, and it's a non-negotiable because that's where I connect in. So yes, I'm busy in certain parts, and it's very structured so that I have that balance every day, an hour and a half. And when you're walking, you're balancing the male and the female energy, the right side and the left side of the brain. So you're getting that balance, and it's bringing you back, disconnecting you from all the noise from the outside, bringing you back on the inside, but just being in the moment, as opposed to any worry or stress is a negative projection of the future, of shit that hasn't even happened. You're worried about it. It hasn't even happened.
Yeah. And then you bring it into reality, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. You manifest it and materialize it. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So being able to come back to that moment. So and I've found that often what you should be doing is the things that people ask you about. Yeah. And for me, people are always asking me to take them hiking. And it's just that the simplicity as well, that you'll go out hiking, and I might go out for a couple of days, and I've got some lightweight gear, and we hike, and then you come back and you go, wow, I watched the sun come up, the sunset. It seemed like I had all this time and all this fresh air, and come back into your world, and you feel like everything's a bit easier. And so anyway, so for me, my venture is to take women out into nature, and to be able to bathe in nature, and to experience and teach them some simple meditations. And there's a place down here which is called Bushrangers Bay, and
oh my God, it's divine. It's divine.
Yeah, and on low tide, there's beautiful rock pools. So even in autumn and winter, it's like awesome to be able to jump in there and feel really alive. And the benefit, that's another thing that I do, is I love to cold water swim. And the benefits of that is amazing, and you just feel like such a child. So bringing out that inner child in women, so that they can deal with their life, and also that they do more for themselves. Like I've just watched my mother age, and my mother has mobility issues these days. Yeah. And it's so important to be able to look after our body. you know.
Oh,
And,
absolutely. That's what we were
um,
just talking about before. I mean, the cold water swims, it's sort of the fad at the moment to do the ice baths. And
yeah.
I can't remember the numbers, but say exercise gives you a dopamine hit of about 50. The ice baths are like a 500 hit. So yeah, I'm just it is a fad, but you've been doing this for a long time, and that's out in the ocean,
And I think another reason, I was talking to a woman that swims out there each morning, and another reason that I did it was when I went through menopause, my estrogen levels were dropping. And it was kind of like it was that really time where I was feeling quite emotional,
Mhm.
and didn't, and I think my confidence was dropping too, but being able to dip into that, and as you say, the dopamine, so every day I would force myself just to get in there for like 2 minutes to
Yeah.
just get through the day.
Yeah.
And it's a fact, it's really great for mental health.
Mm.
So with women, I'm not gonna and the hiking, we're gonna do it in a nice way, in terms of staying in cabins and walking. And I want to do some overseas ones, like to New Zealand as well. But we're gonna start with half day ones to experience walking in nature in somewhere beautiful, and
Mm.
potentially encouraging some of the women, or all of them hopefully, to be able to jump into a beautiful rock pool somewhere, and
Yeah.
then also have just a kind of a taste of a simple meditation that you can do,
Mm.
that can bring you back to just that sort of sense of calm, and some yummy stuff to eat. So
It sounds
that
fantastic.
that
Absolutely right
that
up my
brings
alley.
me brings me joy. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Like that's so awesome. And now more than ever, that sort of life sort of event is needed because it's so busy and it's 24/7 and it's just go, go, go. And we want to help people not go through what you've been through, have that massive wake up call. And nothing beats fresh air. I was in Darwin a week ago, and it's that just connecting in. And what I really realized is, I mean, I'm a nature lover anyway, but just how a sunset just totally moves you, and how travel for me is really important, and having fun, having that laugh. So combining that balance of work and play, because laughing is just super, super, super important, and we don't do enough of it.
And yeah, and that's so true. And I think as we get older, we realize that the things that we remember is not the shit that we have
Yeah.
experiences, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Oh, the
know,
first time I met you, I'll never forget that, and we can't talk about that here, but it was hilarious. It was
yeah, and
hilarious.
I'm so pleased that we did that, that trip. So it's about experiences, isn't it?
Yeah.
uh, and and just making that time, because there's a lot of women out there that, as if you're a couple, men, it's a bit of a fact that men become more fearful as they age because their testosterone levels are dropping,
Right.
and women's progesterone and testosterone increase, so they want to kind of get out and do more, and they're in this sort of situation, so they've just got to kind of do it, and either drag them along or actually do it, come along and meet some kind of like-minded women and
Yeah,
kind
I think it's awesome. On your cup, is that vinegar skipping girl?
of yeah.
Very Melbourne thing. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Actually,
Yeah.
I should have. I've got another one which I should. This
A
is
very
kind of.
Melbourne thing,
Look at
guys.
this one. I could have just been. This is
Oh,
the
how much
colors
does
of
that
this one.
hold? Yeah, does that hold 1.5 liters or what?
No, Audrey gave this to me for.
Yeah, they're so in.
Audrey's my daughter. She gave that to me for my mother's or birthday or something.
It's so cool. So that leads into my next
Yeah.
question is what do you think is your superpower? What is your magic? Why are people drawn to you? What's the essence of you?
Um, and I was, and Sally had told me this question before today, and I was thinking about this. And my oldest son Zach, and he has left home now, and he wrote me this beautiful card, and he said, "Ah, I love you so much, Mum," and he said, "Ah, I love your fearless attitude."
Mm.
And I was thinking into that, and I thought, well, am I fearless or what is it? And I think having gone through grade 3 breast cancer when I was 40, and deciding that I was going to be well, and then taking that on to go, right, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to become well.
Yeah.
And so so for me, it's kind of about, and I also look at life. So I've been through some shit and come through the other side of it, which I think
Yes.
every crappy thing that you have to deal with makes you a little bit more stronger and fearless. The other part of what I think he's talking about and about me is that I look at life like this. I think, do I want to get to the end of my life with regrets and go, oh, I wish that I'd done that. I wish that, you know, all those people said, you know, you are like, oh, you're always hiking. Can you take me hiking? And I'd not done that before, you know. And my husband was reminding me the other day when I went and did a stand-up comedy course for my speaking, and
Hilarious.
you know, was I fearless then? I was originally a little bit fearful about it because I'm not naturally funny, but
You actually are.
but like I did it, and you know, I just went, I'm just going to give it my fucking all.
Yeah.
And you know, I did the 5-minute routine at the comedy club where a lot of the women piked out of that, because that's what I was there to do. So I think it's not taking yourself too seriously and thinking more about, well, if I get to the end of my life and haven't given this a crack, whatever it is, whether it's your health, getting through it, you know, so yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Fearless attitude, having no regrets by the end of your life, and not taking yourself too seriously. I think it's true. It does sum you up. And
what's yours?
Oh, my superpower is my empathy and also connection.
Yeah.
So people and connecting with people. So with people that you're working with, what do you think is overall, or people in general, what do you think is the biggest issue facing them?
I think that we think we'll do something one day, so we put things off. So we might go, I'd love to go on one of Bridgie's hikes, or I'd love to,
not now but later, type of thing.
But I'm just too busy right now. And then, you know, time passes and circumstances might change, or so it's just saying, I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to see myself as being, so when I was unwell, I'm going to visualize myself being well and lead myself to it. And, you know, even with this hiking business, which is a new business for me, I'm just kind of visualizing having happy women coming along, and we're doing some cool shit in different places, you know? So, and seeing it and taking little steps forward.
So, because that leads into, you know, my next question, because based on all of your journey and the wisdom acquired and knowledge and whatever, what would be your 3 top tips? So visualize would be one, do you reckon?
What was that?
Visualize would be one of your top tips?
Well, I was, when I thought about this, I was thinking more about hiking, you know, and if I was thinking about women that perhaps want to get out there and start hiking, what are 3 tips?
So let's do it around that. 3 top tips to help.
Is that fine with you?
Absolutely.
So the first one is, I would say to people, and because it's funny, we've got 3 kids, and I've had them hiking since birth, right? And they all take their friends and everything now, and people go, oh my God, how did you get your kids to even walk? You know? And so the first thing I'd say to you is gear is really important.
Right.
And what I mean by that, so today, like I'm wearing this. This is an icebreaker top, but it's merino wool, and it's 200.
DSM.
It's GSM. So it's warm. So having the right sort of gear. So because being cold is shitful, you know. So
Oh, yes.
being able to layer, but having the right sort of gear. So for me, merino wool, and there's different levels of merino wool. Like I've got short sleeve ones, I've got merino wool undies, which are really fine, but it just means
That's
that
not
they
scratchy.
don't smell, they don't scratch, you know.
Yeah.
So and shoes. So I've known a lot of people that have tried to go on a hike, but then they've had, say, running shoes,
Yep.
and because they're on uneven ground, they get blisters and they never want to go again.
Yep.
So getting some hiking boots, and you can go to places like Kathmandu or whatever,
Yep.
or Paddy Palin,
Yep.
and they can fit you. And they, these days, what they do is they get you. So Kathmandu were quite good. I bought some new Solomon boots the other day, and they get you to walk up and down this thing that's like a hill, like, and then they watch where your foot is in the boot. And you don't want to be with a boot. If you're buying hiking boots, you don't want to be, as you come down the little hill, touching the end of the boot.
Right.
That,
Yep. Yep.
as you come down, so you sort of, so they put me in a half a size bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I would say gear's the first thing, having the right sort of gear. And actually on gear, there's one other thing there. I know that I actually walk often with walking poles.
Oh, yep. Yep. Yep.
And in people call them Nordic walking, but
Yep.
poles take, if you're carrying a pack, they take something like 70% of the weight of your pack. And then the other things that they do is they keep you upright.
Yes. Yeah. I
You're
knew
getting
that
blood
part.
flow to your arms. You know, you're getting rid of your bingo wings, all those sort of things. So I've got poles for longer distance walking, or if I know I'm walking up and down hills or on sand. If I'm carrying a pack, and they fold up. They're made they're made of carbon. So
Right.
yeah. So gear is the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
The second one is planning. So if you're going to go on a, say, a day hike, then just look at the timing of the return trip timing, how long it's going to take. Look at the weather forecast as
Yep.
well, just so that you know, things like have some water, perhaps have a little a first aid kit or something like that
Yep.
with you. So that kind of planning, just to make it more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last one is that it's not about the destination. Right. For us busy women, we just want to get there. Why are we getting there? You know, and it might be like today I went for a hike with a friend, and at 1 minute the sun was shining and then it was pouring down with rain, and and you see people hurrying along and hurrying past other people, but it's just enjoying the journey. So take time to just look around and to listen to the sounds, the different bird noises, the wind, and to take some time and not be hell-bent on when am I getting to the coffee shop, or to the particular place, because you miss the point of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because I'd, been walking, but during COVID in particular, it really brought me back to nature. And there's a track that I walk along the Yarra to get up to the Tan, and there's a whole stretch, and there's bellbirds there and there's ducks. So throughout that time of COVID, I was watching the birds nesting, and then the little chicks being born, and then watching them grow up. And every day it was just like checking in on them, and then watching these little ducklings, grow up. And it's like, it's the beauty of nature. And as you said, we're only here for a blimp of the time, and nature's been around forever. And that was one thing that really hit home up in Darwin, going and looking in the Aboriginal paintings, rock paintings that have been there for like 20,000 years. And we've only been here for this amount of time, right? It's just a small time, and this nature is just so beautiful, and it can teach us so much, as you know. Like, it just, hugging trees is very beneficial. Feeling the fresh green grass under bare feet, like,
Yeah.
read it and have cold water. It's divine, and it brings us back to basics. It really does, about what's important in life. And at the end of the day, it's about being happy and healthy and wealthy on all levels, having abundance of everything, because it's all out there, as you were talking about earlier, like with the God or the greater energy force up there, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. But we can feel it. It gives us the goosebumps, right? And it gives us the feels, the sensing inside.
Yeah, and it's interesting on that, the whole connecting to that universal energy, or your soul, whatever you want to call it. It really only happens when you're quiet enough. And so however you can do that, and often if you're surrounded by devices, or you can't do it, like, so getting out into nature where you're just walking or being, or you can sit, is the way when it really,
that's where the connection is, right? It's in the stillness, it's in the peace, it's in that Zen mode. It's just like when you've disconnected, and like we were saying before, it's when you're in the moment, not worrying about stuff, you're just still, and it's calm. So yeah, love it. So at the end of the day, what is the absolute thing that you're so most passionate about, that gets you out of bed, that puts a smile on your dial, brings you joy? What really drives you or motivates you?
I just now, after being on death's door, I kind of marvel that, yes, I'm getting older, but I actually feel better than when I was younger. I just feel more able to handle different situations. I kind of, it's like I feel more alive. So the thing that gets me out of bed in the mornings is just, it's looking at it like it's another day to live, or
yeah, I love that.
to learn.
Yeah. I mean, as I said earlier, you would given the biggest gift of, wellness out of your illness. And so more than ever, it's appreciating those small things. It's the little things. It's the joy that I'm awake today and I'm healthy and I can breathe, and and I've got this beautiful life, and you live in nature too. Like, you're surrounded by nature. You literally live on the water. So wow.
And actually, as thinking about that and understanding frequencies, when we start to think about those things that we're grateful for, and simplify it down, so many good things come into our life just because we are grateful for those simple things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm exactly the way. It's exactly the same. I mean, before I get out of bed, I do a little ritual, and it involves, my morning ritual is to, 3 things I'm really grateful for over the last 24 hours. And why? Because that amplifies that gratitude. Because, we have please and thank yous for our kids, but in universal terms, gratitude is the equivalent of a please and a thank you, showing your gratitude, because it just lifts your energy, right? Because at the end of the day, there is so much to be grateful for. And out of it, that's why I did in my journal. I don't know if you've seen my latest journal, but there's a positivity exercise, taking something that can be perceived negative that's happened in your day and finding the positives out of it, because out of every situation, there's always positives, or there's a silver lining, shall we say. And yeah. But anyway, so
I love you, Sally.
Oh, I love you too. But what sort of legacy would you like to leave, down the track, when you said, you don't want to die with regrets, but how would you like to be remembered? Probably a
Well, it's funny, isn't it? So if you perhaps ask that in a different way, like, what do you want people to say at your funeral?
Yeah.
I'd like them to say, mum was really fun, and she did some crazy shit, and got me doing some fun stuff too.
Yeah.
And and kind of, you know, she taught me that anything's possible. So, you know,
Yeah.
I hope that I'm taking ladies as we age overseas and on some fun adventures as we age, and you know, maybe I drop dead one day doing that sort of thing, you know, like
On the
I'm
job, so to speak.
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
other job.
yeah. So the legacy that I wanna leave is, yeah, that kind of people say that I touched them in some way, and made them think that, you know, anything was possible,
Yep.
and to give it a go, and probably that fearlessness comes into
Yeah,
it.
and that's what I was going to say. Yeah, for sure. And I've got to say, you are fun and you are wild and you're hilarious and you've got such a big heart. So, yes. So, where can people find out more about you and you know, about your hikes and what you're up to? Where
Okay.
can people?
So if they just find me on Instagram, Brigette Sigley, Brigettee, and Sigley, Sigley. Yeah, find me on Instagram, and then you can check out, you know, the next hike that's coming up,
And
and
also check out some of the hikes you've been on because your posts are
oh
fantastic.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
very inspiring. The scenery is incredible, and yeah, always having some fun. So
yeah, and also, you know, in this space, that's where I post about, you know, what you need, and
yeah,
what
right.
other types of groups that you can join. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll do that. So yeah, Bridge, thank you so much for coming on Magic Mike Moments today. I took the background thing off because it was annoying me with all the bits around it. I just like keep it simple, baby. But
Yeah.
you know, you're an inspiration to all. You're a fun spirit, and you know, you're just living in the moment and loving nature. So there's what's not to love about you, babe. So thank you,
Thank
thank you.
Sally.
And look forward to catching up with you again soon. And good luck with all the hiking adventures. And yeah, we'll be following you along on Instagram.
Yeah, and any of you women out there that want to just even come and give it a little try, I'd love to, you know, see you and help you become inspired to do more of it.
Yeah, fantastic. I think your tips were really useful about the gear, the shoes, the poles. You know, it's all about the planning and also just enjoying the journey. You know, it's not just about the destination. So lots of gold in this podcast today. So thank you, Bridge. We look forward to seeing you again. And for everyone else here, it's Sally signing off from Magic Mike Moments, and we'll catch you again soon. All right, see ya.